the bear.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm digging it. Let's see what we do.
Woo!
Hey everybody, welcome back to Boss and the Bear. I'm Jocelyn the Boss.
And I'm the bear.
And I'm still having some good times trying to fight that silly bell gargoyle and his silly friend that I haven't met yet.
Who is also a bell gargoyle.
Is it just 2 bell gargoyles? Is
Yeah.
that what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then later on in the game, you can face bell gargoyles as regular enemies.
Cool. That doesn't sound like it'll be obnoxious in the slightest.
Well, at that point, you can take it down in like 3 or 4 hits. So it kind of just makes you feel like a badass.
Yeah.
You also fight touristy. Oh, shit balls. God damn it.
What did you do?
I keep like gesturing with my pen and smacking the pop filter with my pen. So there's just going to be like all over.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
We've experimented with like the sound issues on this before, and it's generally it's okay.
Yeah. Ooh.
All right, come on, fella.
Oh, and then
That's rude.
the second they start sipping, you can go in and fuck their day up. Like you can get in 3 or 4 good hits. And that buzzing doesn't exist. That's totally not my cousin calling me on my phone.
I can't even hear it from where I am, so it's good.
Perfect. Hopefully none of you could either, but I told you about it anyways, so I kind of, fucked myself with that
it's a
one.
lampshade moment.
Lampshading.
All right, let's book it. Nope. All right, not dealing with these guys today.
Perfect.
I am.
Like,
Stop
that's
it.
just a frustration that you don't need. I hate it when they get the hit when you're just barely on the way up. When you do that, are you like running, or are you just like...
I thought I was running, but maybe I wasn't. I was holding down B. I think
Okay.
I was. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe I like just imagined that I was.
I wasn't looking. I was just like thinking about tips and tricks.
Yeah, that's fine. Wow.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
All right. Oh, here comes. Okay, that worked
If you
for some
can
reason.
somewhat draw him over. Oh, yeah. He was about to do that.
I knew that was coming, but I just
Tail
couldn't really
whip.
do anything about it.
That's okay. Sometimes you just gotta take the hit.
Oh.
Because if you go over to your souls and pick them up, oh, that was really good. Then that's, if you kill that one night guy every single time, that's 200, 300 souls every single run. So then eventually you have enough for a level. And then it's like, oh, I'll just pop back. Well, then you just like
Once I
have
finally
to kill
him,
Yeah, you get like a
and
huge
then I'll be able to get
horde.
like a lot of stuff
Yeah.
going on. All right. I
Just
think,
as long as you always get your
Whoop.
souls back,
whoop. There we go.
Yeah. You're actually doing really good. You're keeping to his sides instead of his back. You're like
Whoops.
dodge rolling.
Okay.
Do you use your shield a lot in this fight?
No, I don't. I really should. Shoot, I've forgotten which button does what again.
Oh, that's okay.
It's fine.
You just keep playing it the way you're playing it, because like your dodging's really, it's really doing nice.
Whoop.
Oh yeah, girl, getting it. You gotta look. It's already farther down this time than it was last time. I'm like life coaching it. I'm like,
You
"Yeah, we
have
got
to.
this."
Like what
It's
we've
so
established
good.
from last time is that like,
Okay.
and here's his buddy.
That's
Whoop.
okay, because if you oh yeah,
Okay.
that was really
so I'm
cool
gonna
though.
Not lock on, and just gonna
Yeah, girl.
try to keep this. Oh dear. Oh dear.
That's okay.
I have a net gain of health on that one.
If you
so we're
head
good.
back sort of towards the fog gate, it'll be easier to get your souls if you die. So you just kind of gotta
I'm gonna
lure them over
swap
closer.
My... Whoop. Oh,
Oh, that's okay.
and I'm dead.
That's okay. You did really good that time.
I actually
Holy
got
shit.
the second one engaged, and look at that. They're both down to halfway health.
Right?
I'm slowly but surely getting better at this game.
You are doing so good.
I still hate it.
Yes!
Still hate it, for the record, but I'm having fun.
Right? Like, I'm telling you right now, the rush of endorphins when you finally take that boss down is gonna be like
I
better
felt
than any
it.
sex.
I remember when okay, maybe not better than any sex.
Better than the majority.
Better
of
than the
sex.
majority. I have very clear memories of the best sex I've ever had. I don't know if that's like an appropriate story to be telling on the show, but
I've talked about Aaron and I screwing on the couch and the cat
I
attacking my
know.
head.
But the problem is that like, you know what? Fuck. Whatever.
Go!
The best sex I ever had was not with my current partner.
Wah, wah.
She knows this. Like, she has to know this. But even so, it's just like, it feels a little airy, dirty laundry-ish sort of thing. And so I don't know how cool it is for me to be, you know, talking about that.
I'm going to interrupt this really quick by
Nice.
cracking a soda.
Couldn't wait until the episode break, huh?
No, I actually specifically wanted to be super obnoxious.
Well, give somebody like an entertaining thing while I fight this thing that I fought 1,000 times on the show so far.
Right.
At least I'm not like trying to book it past it. That was not a winning strategy for me. This is better.
Yeah. And it gets you a little bit of souls every time and gets you practice, which is really important. Because just as with anything, the more it becomes muscle memory, the easier it gets, you know?
Did you know? I learned this on Bill Nye's new series. There's no such thing as muscle memory.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, we conceive of it as muscle memory, but it
Yeah.
all still ties into like the central nervous system eventually. And so like we kind of imagine that it's muscle memory, but what it's just like fewer steps from our brain to our muscles.
Yes.
Okay. This is not going
Yeah.
so well.
Yeah, you gotta be either running or
I was
rolling.
running that time, but that's okay.
Yeah. I would
Alright.
suggest just rolling through because that'll give you the most invincibility frames.
All right. Okay.
You got
Anyway,
it, though. It's all
as I
cheap.
was saying, yeah, no such thing as muscle memory. It's just like we come to regard it as muscle memory because our
Yeah.
brains just make those synapses fire a lot faster, well, a lot more efficiently. But like if you like suddenly found your brain in a different body, which is not something that could ever happen, but hey, maybe it can with
Theoretically.
science in the future.
One day.
You would still have those so-called muscle memory things.
Because they're not actually in their muscles.
Exactly.
They're part of,
It's part of like the same nervous system.
That's
So,
neat.
yeah, I watched a lot of Bill Nye Saves the World. It's a pretty decent show.
Right.
Out on Netflix right now.
I remember Aaron was saying his only like very constructive criticism is just like the pacing's a little odd, but like I watched the first episode and Bill Nye isn't even giving like 1/16 of a fuck.
I'm not really
Like-
sure who the audience of the show is. I think that's my biggest criticism, is that like it still has a lot of that science guy flavor to it.
Yeah.
But it's also not. Like he addresses some very adult topics.
Yeah.
And does so very unapologetically, which is the part I admire. There was probably a big
Right.
opening. I probably could have
That's
hit
okay.
him. Whatever.
We were having a lovely conversation.
And so, like, I kind of really appreciate it for that reason, that it's just, like, unapologetically, like, hey, we need to start paying attention to climate change, and you should not be shitty to people who have varied gender expressions, because, seriously.
Okay, going hard.
Eh.
And ciao.
Okay,
Ciao.
that kind
That's
of
okay.
worked.
Right? That gets you a better feeling for like how big that opening really is. I think Bill Nye's audience is specifically for the people who watched Bill Nye the Science Guy as kids and are now adults, and specifically intended to get them interested so that they tell their parents and their aunts and uncles and their bosses about it.
I can see that.
You know?
That makes sense.
Because a lot of the people our age, especially like Tumblr-y people that age who have watched the show, like a big criticism I've heard is like, okay, but we already know this. And it's like, well, not everybody already knows this. It's kind of being presumptuous about like, oh, well, our age group is just better. Well, no, there's varying opinions, and you generally only see the opinions of the kinds of people you spend time with. But I really think that it's intended for people to show their family members and their parents when the parents are like, oh, well, give me a good reason for, like, what's climate change? Prove it to me. And it's like, I can't prove to you the entirety of climate change in a way that's going to be, like, interesting or fun at this fucking family dinner. So instead, you can just pull out your smartphone, do
Watch
a
an
clip,
episode of Bill Nye Saves the World.
and then they
Oops.
reveal it in, like, because very specifically the tone that he has in it, where he is not even in the realm of fucking around.
Oh, did I die?
Oh, that's okay.
I totally missed that I died there. I'm still like, okay, B and right bumper, not quite melding with me. For some reason, I associate shoulder buttons more with parrying. I'm not sure what game taught me that, but it's stuck in me. And so like using B to parry is not my first instinctive move. That's okay. Bill Nye, let's talk more about that.
Just quickly, I'm just gonna. Sorry, everybody. If you think of it as like the right bumpers and triggers are your hands, you know what I mean?
Okay, that sort of makes
like,
sense.
your right bumper and trigger is whatever's in your right hand. Your left bumper and trigger is whatever's in your left hand.
It's a healthy way to think about it.
Yeah.
I'm just,
but yeah,
made a mistake.
That's
okay.
okay. But yeah, Bill Nye, the way that he talks, he makes it very clear that he thinks, he agrees everybody should already know this, and he's exhausted that he has to keep explaining it. But he's doing it, you know? So like that means that it's not necessarily it's an interesting audience choice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And speaking of the audience, I think my other criticism of it is the audience lacks a little bit of enthusiasm sometimes. I think they could stand to be a little rowdier. Perhaps they should like garner a larger audience for the next season.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's a really fun show. His thing on like organic food and GMOs and stuff is actually very important.
Good.
Because like he used to be an opponent of GMOs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It wasn't like he thought that they were unnatural or something. It was more like his argument was along the lines of like he thought that it was upsetting the ecosystem of the bees.
Yeah.
And like that's been proven wrong with science. And like he openly acknowledges, he's like, I was wrong about this. And like that's cool.
So
I've learned
healthy.
this and become like more scientific as a result. My thinking is clearer on this, and that's what we all need to be. We all need to be willing to acknowledge that sometimes we're not going to get everything right. And I think like that's the most important. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Fine.
They
whatever.
have you in the bottleneck.
Whoops.
That's okay. It worked anyway.
Worked out, even though I wasn't locked on.
Oh.
That's okay.
That's okay. There should just be like a compilation of us saying that's
okay
from
like,
Dark
oh my
Souls.
god, I even noticed that when I was going over the first recordings of this series, is that I do a lot of repetition as a way of like self-care.
Yeah, it's like self-soothing.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh god.
And I'm doing the same thing again. I'm hitting
No.
the B for attack. That's not the correct way to
Oh.
do this. Okay. Got this.
Right? Because like I can always tell
Boom.
when you're doing it because I'm just like, no, Jocelyn,
Why are
Jocelyn,
you
why
dodging? You should
why
be
are you
attacking.
Yes.
Okay. I made it through that okay.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
only
okay.
down one Estus flask. We're good.
We're teaching people healthy coping skills in frustrating situations. We're doing a service.
Yeah. Mentioned this a couple times, and once in Mystical Ninja Star and Goemon, but like after the last recording session, I needed like a session. We needed like a low-key therapy thing. So
Yeah. Right? That's kind of how we're doing it right now, because like Life is Strange is very emotionally taxing for me, and Dark Souls is very emotionally taxing for
me.
Joss.
So we're like trying to off balance it with like fun, joyful, happy games as well. But I'm gonna take another crack at this boss.
Wait, before you do that,
Yeah,
we're gonna
that's what I'm
call.
saying.
Oh, damn it!
We're almost on the same page. That's cool.
We were so close.
All right, gonna take another crack at this boss. Check out my little ghosty friend. What's up, ghosty friend?
Ghosty friend.
But we're gonna do that on next time. Until then, I am Jocelyn the boss.
And I'm the beer.
Bosslin the Joss.
Bosslin the
Goodbye.
Jocelyn. Bye.